Will Jeff Petry be the next Habs veteran to be traded? If so, where could he go and what is his trade value? Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. All right, before we get into the video, I'm going to apologize for my set. I got a lot of new equipment and stuff, and discovered my set is too small for all the equipment I bought, so I'm going to be in the middle of moving the set to a big, not a bigger location like somewhere else, but it's a bigger room of the apartment. So that's going to happen over the next little bit. Let's get right into this video so I don't bore you with those little details. But new camera, new lighting, something's good. As we get closer to the entry draft and free agent frenzy, Montreal Canadiens GM Kent Hughes is most certainly ready to start making the moves to transform the roster. The Canadiens need to clear some cap space before they can start adding any new players. With teams allowed to go over the cap in the offseason by 10%, teams that are already over the cap or close to that have very little wiggle room without moving out bodies that carry hefty contracts. In Montreal's case, there are a few of those guys around in Armia, Gallagher, Anderson, don't move Anderson, Hoffman, Byron, and the guy we're going to be looking at today, that's Jeff Petry. So here's what's kind of being said right now, being written. Montreal Canadiens rumor, Jeff Petry trade coming next, with a question mark. The Jeff Petry trade watch is on in Montreal. Montreal Canadiens, what is Jeff Petry's trade value? And Canadiens, suddenly no shortage of suitors for Jeff Petry. GM Kent Hughes was asked, obviously, about the imminent trade of Jeff Petry. This is what he said. I don't think there's an imminent trade for Jeff, but I won't rule out that there could be a trade. Teams are evaluating their needs right now. We'll see. I can tell you my phone is ringing more this week than last week. At the last trade deadline, asked about Kulak and Lehkonen, and I believe he said, we're not looking to trade these guys. So it's not an active thing. Things could happen, but we're not looking to. Kind of what he just said there. And then not too long after, Lehkonen and Kulak were traded. So, yeah, I think him saying that doesn't really mean anything. It's probably negotiating stuff, what was that? Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. So that's where that kind of stands, right? So this past season, Jeff Petry asked GM Hughes to trade him to a U.S.-based team, giving family reasons and COVID restrictions in Canada as the reasons why. Now, most of those COVID restrictions are lifted, so I think at this point that doesn't make a difference because Montreal needs to move Petry's money out. So I don't think they're going to go, well, now you don't need to go anywhere, so we're going to keep you. I don't think that's going to happen. This was while Dom Ducharme was still coach, and none of the players were happy. And if you saw Jeff Petry before Ducharme was fired in a press conference thing, and after when Marty St. Louis was hired, it's like night and day, unhappy to happy. Hughes agreed to try as long as it was a good deal and a good trade for Montreal, not just for Jeff Petry. Apparently, there was a lot of interest in Petry at the last trade deadline, but nothing materialized. The Flyers apparently came close, but couldn't pull the trigger on. I did a video about this. What their offer involved James Van Riemsdyk and all that. Montreal would like to move Petry's $6.25 million. I actually want to go back on that. Since then, though, I think it's quite apparent that Jeff Petry's play was greatly improved to the point where we'll talk about his numbers and everything. So I think it's a different. I don't think they would take that deal. Definitely not anymore. Montreal would like to move Petry's $6.25 million off the books and bring in someone with experience, but at a much lower AAV, as Hughes has already said. Will Petry be the next big move after Montreal traded Shea Weber's contract to Vegas in exchange for Evgeny Dadonov's one-year, $5 million deal, which got them under the cap by almost $2 million because they were over the cap by around $900,000, and that got them under the cap. So could Petry be moved at the draft next month, which is now only like 2 weeks or so away, in Montreal's effort to move their second first-round pick, so that's the second pick they have in the first round, up a little higher, maybe even as high as number 2, although I don't see Petry going to New Jersey. So I don't see it in this. But Montreal's going to be trying to do that, I imagine. After a very rough start to his 2021-22 season, scoring just 6 points in his first 40 games, Jeff Petry found himself again under new coach Marty St. Louis, and he had 21 points in his last 28 games, and that's a 60-point pace over a full season. So, that's a hell of a good pace. He found himself again. That performance in the last 28 games had to have brought Petry's value back up to where it should be, and should give any courting GMs the confidence to acquire Jeff and meet Montreal's price. So question is, what is Jeff Petry's trade value? And who might be coming a calling to try to acquire Jeff this offseason? Current rumors have 4 or 5 teams interested in Petry, which could set off a bidding war, which would be great. That would see Montreal maximize Petry's return, which is what GM Hughes' strategy should be and probably is. My dog's going to get in on this because there's a dog barking outside. So it's set a high price. I'll talk louder than her. And let the teams bid their way to the prize, which is Jeff Petry. In a perfect world, that's how it would work. We all know it's not a perfect world, but that's how it would work. With the size of Petry's contract and the 3 years of term, I doubt a first-round pick would be the return, which we talked about it over the season last season. I doubt the first-round pick's coming, even though he's playing a lot better. But 2 second-round picks, or a second and a third, or preferably actually a second and a good prospect. Maybe not a top-tier prospect, but a good prospect. A good prospect. And that's likely to be the asking price set by Hughes. So who are these suitors we keep hearing about? It's pretty much the same teams as last season. Then the rumored teams were Dallas and Detroit, who they might apparently be the front runner. Get your words out. They might be the front runners right now. The Flyers apparently still rumored to be interested. And I wrote here their last offer apparently still on the table. I'm not so sure that's still on the table, considering that Petry is playing better. That exact offer, I don't see why Montreal would want James Van Riemsdyk back at $7 million. Only one season, but Pittsburgh's also supposed to still be interested, maybe even more so now that it's kind of crunch time about them trying to re-sign Chris Letang. It's important to remember that Petry has a no-movement clause that carries a modified no-trade with a 15-team list. So he can give a team of 15 teams that he doesn't want to be traded to. I believe that's it, 15 teams that he doesn't want to be traded to. So it's unclear if these 4 teams are on this list. And I wouldn't really think so on the list, except maybe Philadelphia. I would think Dallas, Detroit, and Pittsburgh are on a list where he would like to go. And Philly, I'm thinking, after they hired John Tortorella, I'm not so sure Petry, why would he want to go play for Torts? I don't see that working out. Okay, so for Dallas, it makes a lot of sense. Petry's wife is from Texas. If Dallas can't re-sign veteran D. John Klingberg, which is it seems unlikely that they will, but then saying that, they probably will, then Petry would be a good replacement. Petry's salary and term should fit Dallas. I mean, the term might be low. They might want to Klingberg. They might want to sign for 7 years or 8 years, whatever. Petry's got 3 years on his term. They could always extend them, but the money's definitely in that range. From what I understand, Klingberg wants a lot of money. We're looking at $7+ million. So Petry's money's a little savings there. Dallas has the picks to trade, and they also have 20-year-old Maverick Bourque. He is a Quebec native. He's a center, a little on the small side, but he's a center. And there might be the makings of a deal there, I think, So I could see Dallas being an option. Detroit is probably where Petry would most likely go, or would most like to go, because it's his hometown and it's where his family and he live in the off season. So they already live there. Detroit can handle his contract. They definitely have the cap space. And they also have, I think they have the picks as well. And they need a veteran defense to replace Nick Leddy, who was traded to St. Louis at the deadline last season, and Mark Stahl, who's a UFA and not expected to re-sign. So the drawback here for Detroit is They're a little stacked on the right side. They've got Calder Trophy winner. He just won Calder Trophy. Moritz Seider and Philip Bronek on the right side. They're young, and they're not going anywhere. And Petry would have to, or one of them would have to switch sides. I would imagine it would be Petry would have to switch sides, or be a third pairing guy. I mean, you're not paying $6.25 million to have a guy on your third pairing. He's a top four for sure. He could play on the top pair and power play quarterback and all that. And I think it's a good. It might work out. I think that's a place that could work out. But there could be a deal made there. I'm stumbling over my words because I lost my spot. This is what it is. So they have the picks. That's without a doubt. They've got the cap space to take on Petry, and they have winger Philip Zadina, who I believe was in the draft year of Kokanyemi, and he hasn't really found a spot there, I think, with Detroit. So that's a good prospect. I think that would be, maybe Detroit even throws something else in there, but I think that's what you'd be looking at if there's a deal made there. Pittsburgh could work out. If they can't re-sign Chris Letang, Petry could be a good fit. The Penguins have a lot of UFA and RFA contracts. I looked it up on Cap Friendly. They've got a lot, not a bunch of big ones, but there's Malkin and there's Letang and there's a bunch of them that they have to fill out a roster, right? So signing Letang and Malkin even could be a problem. To sign both, but probably I think they would sign Malkin if they can, and they might let Letang walk, right? So if that happens, right? Bringing in Petry, that could save them some cap. Not a lot, but it could save them a little bit of cap. I would think Letang's his last contract was 7.2. He's going to want similar money, if not the same. So, maybe $1 million in savings there. And from a talent level, there's no drop off really. Petry could be a top pair, power play quarterback, and put up some really good numbers playing with Sid and Gino. Pens have what it takes to give Montreal in return, and could work. I could see a second in 2023, and I like winger Sam Poulin. I do, coming back to Montreal. I don't see the Flyers deal working out. I don't. They don't have a second round pick till 2024, so neither this year nor next season. And I don't think they want to trade Owen Tippett, because if I remember in the deal that was supposed to be on the table, it was young kid Elliot Desnoyers that they were talking about, and not Owen Tippett. So I don't really see anyone else I want from them. That's me, and I don't want to have to take on James Van Riemsdyk's $7 million, even if it's just for one season. So I don't really like the Philadelphia deal much, and I think with Petry playing better, because of the time I made the video, I believe. I'll say this. At the time they were trying to work out the deal, Petry was just starting to play better. So I think they were basing a little bit on the fact that he hadn't had a good season. But you got to look at it how he finished. I think that's really important. He's got the track record, so it's not like, oh, he had a great end of the season. It's a one-time thing, but sure, next year it'll be the same. He has a track record, so I think that's it. So that's it. It's my first video in a week. Can you tell it's the first video in like a week that I've done? A little nervous and all that stuff. Anyway, the set's going to be kind of in flux until everything moves over. And that's the way it is. Thanks for watching this video. Give a thumbs up if you like the video somehow. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. What do you think of this? Do you think there's any other teams that might be interested in Petry? If so, let me know in the comment section your ideas on that. Stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. And that's it. Check out that video that popped up over there some time ago. I don't know how long ago. And that's it. Bye, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching.